Hello everybody, thank you for tuning in to my video. I felt to offer some astrological insight to what is currently going on for us all collectively. Astrologers have been saying for a very long time that 2020 would be a year of radical change, mostly due to the Saturn-Pluto energy that we've been working with in Capricorn, being joined by Jupiter and currently Mars as well. So back in January, Saturn, who is the embodiment of structure, met the dark goddess Pluto in the sign of Capricorn. And this was a seed moment of transformation. We know from looking back through history that Saturn-Pluto alignments really shake the structure of our reality. They force us, often through crisis, to change the way we do things. And Capricorn itself is a sign that is often associated with these hierarchies that govern our world, that govern our reality. So governments, banks, all of these systems, these patriarchal systems that have been, controlling our reality for a very long time. So looking back, we can see that we first became aware on a mass level of the coronavirus around the time that Saturn and Pluto came together in January. So this was the beginning of the transformation. And in some systems of astrology, it's also said that Pluto rules over viruses. I think Pisces and Neptune play a role here as well, which we'll talk about now, because we really saw the expansion of this fear of the virus spreading happening as we entered Pisces season, and we had that Mercury retrograde in Pisces, which is still on some levels playing out. Mercury is currently still in the end degrees of Aquarius, where she stationed retrograde at the time of the full moon. But she will be heading back through Pisces. She's actually not going to leave her retrograde shadow until the 30th of March, where she'll come to meet Neptune again. And she will remain in Pisces until the 11th of April. So there's still an activation of this energy going on that was really amplified at the Virgo full moon. So Pisces is a boundaryless sign and can really open us, can really sensitize us and lower our psychic immunity. So it's very interesting that with Mercury retrograding in this sign, we almost had this energy of the contagion of belief happening at the same time as the physical virus began spreading. So this really speaks to us of our energy boundaries and how we allow ourselves to be psychically infiltrated. And this really seemed to peak around that Virgo full moon, when we of course had Italy going into shutdown and other countries taking very drastic measures to contain the epidemic. For me, Pisces is the spiritual reality. Virgo is the physical body. It's the strong container for the love and inspiration of the divine to manifest through. So it brings awareness to our health on all levels. Virgo is a sign that really encourages us to purify, to detoxify, to be aware of our physical well-being. So it's not surprising that there is all this energy in the collective at the moment that is focused on wellness, that is focused on building immunity. And I think it's really important for us to build immunity on a psychic level as well, because although in a very Virgo way, we have to restructure, we have to reorganize, we have to take very practical steps to manage our well-being and our lives at this time, we also need to be aware of how we are being affected by the collective, how we are being influenced on an energetic level by all of the messages from the media, through social media, that are surrounding us. Virgo is a sign that is related to anxiety. She is connected with the nervous system and the digestive system. So it's really about how we are processing what is happening through our energy fields, how we are devoting ourselves to creating rituals around our own physical, mental, emotional health and well-being. So she has a lot to teach us. And it's very interesting to me as well that the goddess asteroid Hygeia is also transiting through Gemini, the sign of the throat at the moment, the sign of communication, and has been squaring Mercury on and off during her retrograde journey as well. So on many levels, this is a gift that is making people a lot more aware of how they treat themselves, how they treat their body, how they take care of themselves. And for those on lockdown as well, an opportunity to create sacred space around them, to create a nurturing, clear space for themselves to heal. So it's really reminding us of the importance of rest, the importance of reflection, of listening to our body's messages, and also a very deep reflection on how our health is so intimately connected with the health of Mother Earth. So the coronavirus is affecting people's lungs, and of course also in January, around the time of the Saturn-Pluto conjunction, we had the Australian fires, we had the Amazon fires as well before that. So it's all very much connected with this energy of breathing in, of being able to breathe in life. And the lungs are on a spiritual level connected with suppressed grief as well. So there is this element of we are all in this time of processing our own deep wounds and hurts, which brings me on to the other potent alignment that is happening throughout March as well. This is a really powerful and personal one to me. It's Chiron square the nodes, and Chiron is directly conjunct my natal sun in Aries at this time. So I'm really feeling these energies myself. And Chiron, as you may know, is referred to as the wounded healer in astrology. And he is the place where the wound becomes the wisdom, or the poison becomes the medicine. So back to that image of the snake that Hygeia, the goddess, is often depicted holding as well. And that feels like a really powerful message for this time, for us all collectively. So Chiron is around 4 degrees of Aries at the moment, and he's also quite tightly conjunct Black Moon Lilith still, and they are both squaring the north and south nodes of fate and destiny. So we know that the south node of release of previous karma is still up in Capricorn with Pluto, Saturn, Jupiter and Mars at this time. And the north node, the point of evolution, the sign that supports us on our pathway of evolution collectively at this time, is in Cancer. So Chiron squaring the nodes is bringing us to this karmic checkpoint that says, are we going to try and cling onto the past, this shadow energy of Capricorn, this materialism, this capitalism, this get to the top no matter what. My worth is defined by my productivity kind of energy. Or are we going to choose to step into Cancer, into connecting with the tribe, to loving, to nurturing, to coming home to the divine feminine? So we are being given this opportunity on a collective level to decide where we are going to head. Chiron in Aries is perhaps bringing up, for a lot of us, feelings of vulnerability, because Aries is the warrioress archetype. You know, she is generally associated with fearlessness, with courage, with bravery, with charging forward, leaping into the unknown, with self-protection and self-assertion. So for Chiron, the wound to be here, we're all really feeling our vulnerable and sensitized areas. And I think it's important to reflect on that it often takes more courage. It's often a bigger act of bravery to ask for help, to reach out to other people, than it is to try and go into shadow Aries and do everything ourselves. So with Chiron squaring the nodes in Aries, which is very connected with our survival instincts, we might be really getting this sensation of our security is threatened. And, you know, this is one of the big fears that is happening with the virus is, you know, how are we going to survive on a physical level? So we really need to begin to do the healing work on ourselves, take this time to go within, to look at where we are in need of karmic healing, to look at where we are holding on to unexpressed anger, and allow ourselves the gift of sacred rage if we need to. This is Lilith conjunct Chiron. It's very interesting that we also had the sentencing of Harvey Weinstein happening around this time that they came together as well. So there's also this element of the almost retribution of the divine feminine happening as well. Interesting to notice that Nemesis, one of the goddesses of karma, was conjunct the Virgo full moon as well. So there is this element that is going on underneath the surface that is healing not only what is happening now, but all of the previous timelines when we have been working with these same systems of oppression. So ultimately, this Chiron square the nodes energy is reminding us during this season of renewal as we head towards Equinox that sometimes birthing a new reality, birthing a new life can be a painful process, just like physically giving birth. It's not always quick and easy, and as we give birth to this new paradigm, we are going to feel these contractions of change where what was known, what felt secure, seems to be falling away. Chiron in Aries really speaks to us of finding our own identity and finding our own truth in amongst all of the chaos that is going on. So again, coming back to owning your own sovereignty and choosing what you allow to cross your physical, mental and emotional boundaries, particularly while the sun is still in Pisces, which I think is for about another 10 days. Of course, we're going to have the spring equinox with the sun moving into Aries on the 21st, which will, you know, create a big shift in energy around the collective and the fear that is happening at this time. As we also have Saturn heading into Aquarius that day as well. So this is a huge and perhaps welcome shift for many of us. Saturn has been in Capricorn since 2018 and, you know, has been connecting with that south node, connecting with Pluto. It's been a really intense time. You know, a lot of us have felt quite stuck, quite restricted. Of course, we've seen a lot of things happening in the collective in regards to this energy as well, with, you know, Brexit and elections and all sorts of things going on that are really making us examine these structures, these foundations of our society. So as Saturn comes into Aquarius, this energy is going to lift a little, you know, some of this fear, this density that we have been working with throughout these years will start to dissipate a little bit. So for me, Aquarius is the star weaver. It is she who looks at the bigger picture, what is good for the collective rather than what is good for those in power. So this is a very revolutionary energy that is coming in. Capricorn likes to conform, it likes tradition. Aquarius wants to break out of the matrix. So we can see this shift that is starting to happen, and that, you know, will be evolving all year. Saturn is going to come into Aquarius at the spring equinox, at Ostara. Then she will move back into the final degrees of Capricorn as she retrogrades over the summer before heading into Aquarius for 2 years on the 17th of December. She's going to move in conjunction with Jupiter, and many astrologers are saying that this will be the indication of the beginning of the Aquarian age. And this is really exciting because Aquarius is, as I've said, the humanitarian. It's the collective web. Aquarius is about us coming together in community. It's about us recognizing that we are individual yet not separate. We are all one strand in the great cosmic web, and what impacts one will impact the other. So we come out of this kind of hierarchical Capricornian vibration into Aquarius. Aquarius is associated with freedom, with liberation. So during this time, we might start to also really want to break free from these authoritarian measures that have been imposed on us as well. We might start to see what is going on beneath the surface. And of course, the more we try and disengage from these old systems, the more they try to cling on. So during this time, it's really important for us to become aware that the more we disengage, the easier it will be for us in the long term as we really head into this Aquarian frequency. So Aquarius is that futuristic energy. It is the dream weaver. It is this energy of, what am I envisioning for my future, and how does my soul's evolution impact the evolution of the collective? So around this equinox point, as Saturn shifts signs, as the sun comes into Aries, there's a bit more of an empowering, activating energy coming through that is calling us into the next stage of our personal and collective journey. So while we are resting in the Piscean waters and perhaps isolating, we can take this time to reflect upon the seeds that we are going to plant when things do begin to pick up the pace a little bit more. We've also got all planets moving direct from now until around the end of April, when Pluto begins her own retrograde journey. So what I would advise on an astrological level is to really examine in your own chart where these activations are taking place. So looking from around 24 degrees Capricorn to 1 degrees Aquarius, where is this revolution taking place within you? What area of your life is shifting and changing? You can also look to the Pisces and Aries houses of your chart at this time as well to see where this energy of release and rebirth is happening. So in Pisces, we dissolve, we let go, we sanctify, you know, we forgive, we have compassion for ourselves, for others. And then when we move into Aries, we start the new cycle. So every year around this time we have this same opportunity, although slightly amplified for this part of the journey for many of us with the virus. So let's take a little look at Pluto, because again, she's very active at this time. She's made that conjunction with Saturn in January, and will be activated by Mars around the time of the Aries new moon as well. So Mars is currently moving through Capricorn. First of all, we'll bump into Jupiter, and then we'll bump into Pluto herself. So although this Jupiter-Pluto conjunction isn't exact until early April, we are already feeling the effects of it. Jupiter and Pluto will be conjunct 3 times this year. So as I said, the 5th of April, again on the 20th of June, and again on the 12th of November. So this is an ongoing long-term transit that is playing out 24 degrees Capricorn. So we will be revisiting these themes throughout the year. When I really tuned into this energy, I was really receiving the phrase, "The cave you fear to enter holds the treasure you seek." And I was getting a visual of this beautiful golden dragon guarding the entrance to a cave. And for me, this is really about facing our fears, facing our shadows to uncover the treasure within on a personal level. So it's being willing to alchemize the darkness alchemize the darkness into gold. It's about being able to transform our fears into opportunity. So we're finding our power, we're reclaiming our sovereignty. And on a collective level, we can see that this is already, with Mars being there, bringing up a lot of truth to the surface. We're being able to see that there are perhaps resources that are available to us that have been hoarded by the old Capricornian structures. So out of this pandemic, out of this epidemic, there will be many blessings unfolding. So a lot of people have already remarked upon and noticed that this is forcing the powers that be to act in new ways. It's forcing them to change the structures to things that benefit us all globally. The Aquarian energy rather than just benefiting themselves. So, you know, for example, being forced to look at issues like sick pay for those people that can't work, childcare, all of these issues that we should have been looking at anyway. The coronavirus is really expanding and enlarging in a very Jupiterian way. So looking for the blessings that come out of the crisis. Pluto is deep change, soul level transformation, and Jupiter is opportunity, it's the gift. So how can we make changes in the ways that we do things? If we do allow ourselves to expand into something new, to face our fear and let go of what is secure and stable, yet perhaps restricting, we can pave a new road for ourselves. We can enter that cave and find that treasure within. So a very, very potent and catalytic time, all of these energies coming together and working in various ways to call us into this time of rebirth, change, and asking us to look at the ways that we can support each other, the ways that we can restructure our lives to live more holistically, to live more aligned with our true spirit. So from the perspective of looking at these different cycles that are ending and beginning, we can see that as we move into April and May, the energies of the pandemic, the epidemic, might calm down a little bit, you know, but we will be revisiting these themes as we go towards the end of the year. Mars is going to retrograde in the end degrees of Aries. He's going to trigger off all of these conjunctions and things that I've already described. Saturn's going to be back in the final degrees of Capricorn at this time as well. So even if we do feel this kind of easing, this loosening up of the panic, it's good to take on board the lessons, because things are one way or another, whether it's the virus reactivating or something else happening on a global level, we have to face these issues. We have to be prepared for change, prepared to live our lives in a way that is more harmonious with Mother Earth, a way that is more aligned with the feminine rising that is happening. So really reflecting within yourself on where you would like to be, how you would envision your life from this perspective of change, of disconnection from the old matrix. So we are living in very, very potent times, and I believe that on a soul level, we have all chosen to be part of this shift into the Aquarian age. All of our training, you know, many of us have spent many years mastering the arts of healing, of space holding. We have been preparing for this moment, consciously or unconsciously, and now is the time to put that in action, to do what you can to help, to show up and share what you have to offer in ways that support the evolution of the collective. So thank you so much for listening to me. I'm sorry there's been a few interruptions on this video. It's turned into a bit of a busy moment in my house when I started recording. You can hear cats running around and teenagers going in and out, so apologies for any disruption. If you would like to connect with me further, all of the links are below, where you can read my writings, you can join my online circles, or you can have a personal reading to look at how these energies are impacting you throughout 2020. Also beginning a Star Priestess training in Glastonbury just after the equinox. There's still some spaces on that if that is something that calls to you as well. Again, the link will be below. I am sending you so much love and so many blessings during this period of upheaval and transformation.